Hutchings, coming to you with episode 164 of The Good Parts. The Good Parts is a daily social media show where I go live once a day to share one good part from my life and or business in an effort to do good things. Really, I want to inspire, empower freedom, and share just good things that are happening that hopefully can help you and me move closer to freedom, prosperity, happiness, joy, a life where you are living on purpose and in your way. So that's kind of the theme of the show. So today is a little different. A lot of times I talk about personal development and marketing and residual income, home business, those types of things. But today I wanted to share with you the top 6 reasons that I find myself using the X social media platform more and more. And I think that this platform has some great potential for marketing. Up to this point, I have not really used it a ton for lead generation and sales. In fact, I don't think I've found any customers as of yet on X. However, I think there's great potential there for that. I've used it a ton for finding content ideas. And so anyway, I thought it might be useful to just cover 6 reasons that I like it. And then also I wanted to share with you 4 really good accounts to follow, I think. And part of the reason I wanted to do that is because I was talking to a friend of mine the other day who got on X. I think it may have been based on my recommendation. And he quickly found himself seeing content that he didn't want to see and found himself kind of like, negatizing his mind. And so he got off and I was like, and he told me about it on the phone the other day. He's like, man, yeah, I had to get off. And I said, well, I think part of the reason was because you were following the wrong accounts and you were engaging in negative political posts. And so when you do that, of course, the algorithm is just going to show you more of what it thinks you want to see. So anyway, I shared with him a few accounts that I like to follow, and hopefully he'll have a better experience. So anyway, let me jump into this. If you're joining live, if you do me a favor and do hashtag live in the comments below. If you're watching on the replay, do a hashtag replay. Your name will pop up on the screen so I can see who's here and I can engage with you, which will be a lot of fun. It's always more fun to create content when you're kind of doing it with other people. So, all right. So the first reason that I like using X and I'm happy to support it is for free speech. I believe in free speech. I think that speech is connected to thought. And if you're able to speak freely, that's an indication that you're able to think freely, and that controlling a person's speech is one way to control their thoughts. There was a time over the past few years where I became very concerned seeing like mass censorship, seeing lots of propaganda, and I became so concerned that we actually within our company switched the social media platform we were using to engage with our customers over to a platform called MeWe. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but the whole reason we did that was because we wanted to be in a place where we weren't going to be censored. Not that we're saying anything that really anyone would want to censor, but we don't like the idea that people are controlling speech. So anyway, we switched over to MeWe. It was a small platform, the features not that great, and so we ended up eventually switching back over to Facebook. But as you may know, Elon Musk recently purchased, it's a year or so ago, purchased Twitter, which is a very advanced platform, and has dedicated it to being a platform where people can speak freely. So I like the idea that that is happening in the world. And so that's the number one reason that I started using it more. I believe in free speech. Number 2, the quality of the content. And this kind of relates a little bit more to marketing and information digestion. One of the things that I've noticed about X, as it's now called, is that there are a lot of high quality content creators that create content on that platform. There's a guy that I have followed for a while, who's a venture capital guy who has a lot of really wise things to say, I find. And he said that, this is when it was called Twitter, he said, Twitter is TV for intellectuals. And I really find that there is something to that. On X, you get to learn from people who are not just social media influencers or internet influencers, but actual influencers, both on social media or even off social media. You can follow people who are billionaires, who are multimillionaires, and you get to learn from them. You get to plug into their thoughts. And I really, really like that. I think it allows me, anyway, to get outside the bubble. What bubble is that? The bubble of maybe, let's say on Facebook, you're connected to your friends and family, which is great. However, that can be a bubble. And I like getting my mind outside the bubble and learning from people in other industries, other businesses, because I often find I can find a lot of really great ideas that can be applicable to what I'm doing from outside of my bubble. So that's the second reason, quality of the content. Number 3 reason is factual information with less propaganda. So 15, 20 years ago, I stopped watching the news, number one. And part of the reason I stopped watching the news was because I felt like it wasn't, the mainstream news was not giving me real information. It was giving me some information, but I started to notice, at least this is just from my perspective, that there was an agenda either on one side or the other, and that rather than the goal being to get at the facts, the goal seemed to be to sway my mind one direction or another. And I didn't really like that, so I stopped watching the news. And what X is doing is they... I've heard Elon Musk say that one of his goals is to have X be a platform, the platform of truth, where you're able to get at truth as fast as possible and avoid that which is not truth. Now, of course, what a grand ideal that is, and who's to say that's ever going to be achieved? But at least that's the goal, to have a platform where people can have access to true information. And one of the ways that I think is really cool, one of the features that they've implemented on the X platform to help assist with this is they have something called community notes. Okay. So, we recently went through a period of time online where there was this thing called fact checking going on, where someone would, make a post about something, and then you would see these fact checks on it. Problem with those fact checks from my standpoint is that those fact checks were done by third-party organizations that were hired to do the fact checking. And I would say that some of the quality of that information was suspect. And if you think about this from just a logical standpoint, let's say I have a company and someone hires me to do fact checking. That one company has the potential to be corrupted. Like someone could offer me a bunch of money to say, hey, I want you to say these things on the fact checks. And I think some of that was going on. I'm not an expert on that, but just from my perception of watching what was happening. So what X is doing is they have something called community notes, which is basically democratized fact checking. What does that mean? That means that users of the platform can add a community note to anything that's posted on the X platform. And that allows people to hold others a little bit more accountable for the things that they're saying, because they know that there's a chance they're going to get community noted. And one of the things that I've loved about just being a user of the X platform and watching what's happening over there is I love seeing politicians get community noted. A lot of times politicians in the mainstream media, they'll say whatever they want to say, and unless there's someone there holding their feet to the fire and calling them out, then they can just say whatever they want to say. There's no accountability. And sometimes you might find that reporters are not really there to get at the truth, and so they won't hold people accountable to the things that they're saying in the mainstream media. Well, on X, I've seen the White House get community noted. I've seen the President of the United States get community noted. Just this week, I saw, Ivy League college professors presidents of like Harvard, MIT, what was the other one? Penn State get community noted. And I love that. Hey, Arnita, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for saying hello. I love that. I love seeing people held accountable in a way that's honest and authentic to the things that they're saying. So I like that. It's probably not perfect, but I like that. So that's happening on X. That's the third reason. The fourth reason that I like what X is doing, and I think there's some potential, is they actually pay their content creators. So one of the ways that they want to draw more users to the platform is they implement, hey, what's up, Nick Romani? Good to see you. they implemented a payment program for people who create content. Now, it's not just anybody. So, I mean, I've been making posts and stuff over there, but I don't have enough views to start getting paid. But when they implemented this payment for content creators, I was seeing content creators who did meet the requirements and have a lot of impressions on their stuff showing screenshots of fairly, good-sized incomes that they were receiving just for the fact of they're creating content on the X platform. So I think that's cool. I think there's potential there. That's the fourth reason. The fifth reason that I think it might be good to consider paying more attention to X is I noticed the last couple of weeks that there is a shift in focus to small and medium-sized businesses for advertising. Now, this is brand new, and I don't know where it will go for sure, but I have a small business. A lot of people that I'm connected with have small businesses. So if they are going to cater more towards small businesses for advertising, I think that's a great thing, especially for people in the home business profession. Now, I haven't placed any ads on X, so this is all just kind of like, a little bit of speculation, but I know that is going to be a shift that they are moving towards, in part because some of the big advertisers are pulling their advertising funds from X, and there's a whole political drama behind that. Hey, Ron, good to see you. He says definitely a good thing. There's a whole political drama behind that, like Disney's pulling their advertising off of X. Walmart recently pulled their advertising off of X. And if you guys didn't see the clip last week of Elon speaking on a CNBC broadcast, where he dropped a pretty big statement to, these advertisers that are pulling their funds, namely Bob Iger, I think is his name, the CEO of Disney. That's a pretty big statement that he made, basically saying we're not going to be held hostage to your advertising dollars. We're going to hold to our mission of providing a place where people can speak their minds freely. And that's just an incredible declaration and an example of courage from my perspective. So anyway, I challenge you to check that out if you're not aware of it. One of my friends, Bryce Tomlinson, made a comment on one of my posts the other day, talking about FU money. And I said, yeah, Elon gave a whole new meaning to that phrase last week. And then Bryce hadn't heard about it, so he went and looked it up, and he's like, oh my gosh, But I think that is a part of the story in the drama that's unfolding, where X is becoming more and more, I think, a platform for the people rather than the big corporations who are in power. Gail says, I just love Elon. I do too. I really, really do. I know there's, some controversy around him. But I've paid attention to, I've read 2 of his biographies. I think I've probably watched every piece of, video footage that's available of him online, podcast footage that's available online. And most of the time, if not all of the time, when I have a friend or family member that says, well, I don't like Elon for this reason, usually when we dig into it, either the thing is not true, like it was reported somewhere and it was not a true piece of information, or they don't have the full context. So I agree with you, Gail. I love Elon. I love what he's doing. Not to say he's, perfect. He's a person just like all of us, but he is such a great example of entrepreneurship, number one, but also, I think, personally, of moral courage. There was an interview that was done some time ago where a BBC reporter went out to visit with Elon, and some of you guys may have seen this. Some of you may have seen this. If you haven't, I recommend you watch it. A BBC news reporter comes out to interview Elon and was challenging him and like, well, isn't there like a rise in hate speech on Twitter? Isn't there hate speech everywhere? And Elon said, can you give me an example? He's like, do you use it? And he's like, yeah, I do. And he goes, can you give me an example? The guy couldn't even give him one example. And Elon just challenged him right there on the spot. He said, he says, this is incredible. You tell me that there's hate speech here and you can't even give me one example? So he does that. He'll challenge people and he'll hold their feet to the fire. And I really, really like that. I really resonate with that. So I want to support that. I want to support what he's doing. Nick says, that's why I like him. Yeah, me too. And your mind says, Elon is awesome. Yeah, I agree. So anyway, that's the fifth reason, a shift in focus to small and medium-sized businesses for advertising. And then the sixth reason, and then this will be the last one, and then I'll share with you guys a couple accounts that I think are really good to follow, especially if you're just getting your account set up and wondering like, okay, who should I follow so that my feed is good? And I will actually insert one other thing. So on X, you have the ability, so you've got For You and you've got Following. So if you click on following, you're going to see the content from only the people that you're following. So, follow who you want to follow. You'll see what you want to see. It's that easy. But with the algorithm, there's also this For You feed where the algorithm shows you what it thinks you want to see. Look at that. There's Amy Starr Allen, one of my friends, just popped up in my feed. And what I find... I'm finding the For You feed is incredible for showing me stuff that I want to read. And so I actually find myself spending more time in the For You feed than I do in the following feed, which is just kind of a random note as to how good the algorithm might actually be at showing you things that you want to see. So the sixth reason is, as you may or may not know, AI is exploding on the scene in a big way. It's nuts what's happening with OpenAI, ChatGPT, with Microsoft being involved in that drama, with Anthropic and Bard, or actually, I'm not sure. No. There might be another name for the one Anthropic has. I think Bard is Google. So you got Microsoft, OpenAI. You've got Google, which just yesterday released a new AI platform called Gemini. And if you haven't seen those videos, I mean, totally mind-blowing. And then you've got Elon, who started XAI several months back. So you've got all of these big powers in the world with massive money being thrown at this artificial intelligence thing. And it's just an exciting drama to watch unfold. And so Elon with XAI got into the game. Why? Here's why. Because he was concerned, at least this is one reason, he was concerned that the AI that was being developed was not maximally truth-seeking, but rather had political ideology embedded within the AI. And he did not think that was a good thing. So, Sarah Jane, hey, great to catch. Hey, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in, Sarah Jane. So what Elon did, so what he always does, is he gathered some of the most talented people in the world and started an AI product to compete with Google, with OpenAI and Microsoft and these other players, because he feels like part of the goal of AI, at least the generative AI stuff, should be to be maximally truth-seeking and should not have political ideology embedded within the AI. So they've been developing a platform called Grok, which will be included for premium X Premium Plus subscribers. So Grok will be a generative AI platform. So you'll, and I don't have access yet. Supposedly I'm supposed to get access here in the next couple of days. Hey Martin, good to see you. But I'll have access to that, and you can have access to that, where you can use it now from a marketing standpoint, help with content ideas, content creation. I'm finding AI to be very useful for research. I used to Google a lot of things, but for the past few months, I've been using AI instead. I like the ability for myself to ask a question and then get the answer, rather than ask a question on Google and have to click on 10 different links. So AI is just happening in an insane way. And so Grok, there's some people that have access to it, and I should have access to it, and I believe everyone's going to have access to it if you're a X Premium Plus subscriber. So I think that'll be cool, to check out. And also some of the posts that I've seen from people who are using Grok. So like with OpenAI, I've seen posts where people are like, hey, they'll ask a question, and then OpenAI ChatGPT will come back and say, I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. Like here's an example. Like someone uploaded a picture of a beautiful woman and said, is this a beautiful woman? And then OpenAI ChatGPT came back and said, well, that's subjective, and I can't comment on whether this is a beautiful woman. And I mean, that's kind of a weird random example. But basically, OpenAI is building all of these, what they think is safety. Like the people can't handle this information, so we've got to prevent this from coming at them. And Grok, on the other hand, is going to be more maximally truth-seeking. So rather than have agendas embedded with it, it'll be maximally truth-seeking, supposedly, and also humorous. So I've seen all kinds of posts on X where Grok will come back with hilarious responses, and also even cuss words. Grok will swear at you if you want Grok to swear at you, where the other ones won't. I'm not saying I want AI to swear at me, but if I did, I might like that. Hey, let's go ahead and just be honest with each other. So anyway, those are the 6 reasons I think paying attention to X might be a good thing. And with that, and have you guys been using AI? Have you been using X at all? I'd love to hear your experience. Do you think X has some good potential for marketing, for direct sales, home business, lead generation? Let me know. Are you using it right now? If so, why are you using it right now? I would love to hear your thoughts. And with that, I want to share with you 4 accounts to follow. If you're not already. Number 1, obviously, would be Elon Musk. He's the wealthiest man in the world. He's super interesting. Lots of really just thought-provoking things that he posts. Agree with him, disagree with him, whatever. I think studying influential people, I think studying wealthy people is a good thing to do. And so he would be the number 1 account. He's actually why I started using X more. Originally, that's why I got an X, was literally to follow Elon Musk and pay attention to what he was doing. But the second account that I want to share with you guys, it's an account called Orange Book. And if you are into personal development and wisdom, Orange Book is one of my favorite accounts to follow on Twitter. And so if you just go to the search and you type in Orange Book, I really love these posts. Very, very insightful. A lot of times very matching up with reality and my experience of my journey of seeking and finding some success in life. So here's an example. The secret of a happy life is to understand and accept that there are many things you don't need to know or care about. I mean, I think that's wise. So anyway, Orange Book is a great account to follow. The next one is, if you guys are interested in AI, Brian Roemmele is an incredible account to follow if you're interested in AI. Brian Roemmele has been doing AI for, I think, about 2 decades. So he's a really, really early adopter and practicer and scientist in AI. And he really is on the forefront of understanding it, understanding how to use it, prompt engineering, so on and so forth. So that's a great account to follow, Brian Roemmele. And Brian also, in addition to AI stuff, he's always posting like very random but super interesting things that may have nothing to do with AI, but they're just like super thought-provoking and interesting facts and things about the world. So that would be the second one. The third one is, actually that's the third one. So I've got Elon Musk, Orange Book, Brian Roemmele, and then the last one that I'll share with you guys is an account called Naval. So Naval Ravikant is kind of like a big tech guy, guru from Silicon Valley. And I really like a lot of the wisdom that comes across this account. And if you do nothing else, I would recommend reading his pinned post here, How to Get Rich Without Getting Lucky. Great, great, great thread to read on X. It's been shared 84,000 times, bookmarked 123,000 times. So I think there's definitely some value there. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, guys. Let me know your thoughts below. Nick says, yes on the AI. AI is great if used for the greater good and wisely. Yeah, I agree. And if nothing else, it's just so fascinating to see what it's capable of. Again, if you guys didn't see Google's stuff yesterday, go on YouTube, look up Gemini, and watch some of the video demos of what Gemini can do. It's audio capable, it's video capable, it's image capable, and it's text capable. And you can literally like have conversations, voice conversations. It's crazy. Nick Romani says, and I believe that X is something to watch for. It's being overhauled to become something like his other successful ventures. Yeah, right. I mean, and that's the other thing is, there's a phrase that sometimes people say, which is don't bet against Elon. And the reason for that is his track record. If you look at his track record, he's been incredibly successful in everything that he's thrown his heart and soul into. And I think X is going to be no exception to that. They're going to do something with payments too on X, which I think will be big, although I don't completely understand it. So anyway, guys, that's my life for today. Thanks everyone for tuning in. If you're catching me for the first time and want more content from me, I'd love to encourage you to follow me on social media, wherever you're finding this at. And if you want to subscribe to my email list, you can do so at myfreedomfamily.com. As I mentioned earlier, my mission is freedom through principle-centered leadership. So my number one goal is to share ideas that have helped me to build a life of financial freedom, and that hopefully can help you do the same if that's something you're interested in. I talk about personal development. I talk about marketing, lead generation, those kind of things. I'm a part of an affiliate marketing company that I actually co-founded called the Home Business Academy. It's a great company with an amazing lead generation tool and training and information that pays 80% commissions. So if you go to myfreedomfamily.com and check that out, it might be a tool that you can use for your business, and or it might be something that you could use to build a residual income stream. So that's it, guys. I'm going to sign out. Hope